In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show. No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is?
One moment where I've actually talked about Katt publicly, and this was when...
I think it was on Breakfast Club.
My frustration with Katt Williams comes from, you keep pointing at Hollywood. Hollywood this, the white man, this, and this. When do you take responsibility for your actions? You had the shot.
Katt was in that position at one point.
You were the guy. You became a risk to the studios, which is why the studios stopped with you.
Why was he a risk?
He chose.
So it looks like Katt Williams and Kevin Hart's beef is far from over, y'all, because they just got into it again after Kevin jumped on an interview and accused Katt of being jealous of him. Katt has been relentlessly exposing Kevin's shady industry ties for years now, and it looks like he's not going to stop anytime soon. He called Kevin an unfunny and untalented industry puppet who was put in Hollywood to replace him because he refused to bend over and have his cheeks played with by other men. Katt claims that every movie he has ever missed out on because he refused to be a Hollywood power bottom was given to Kevin Hart because Kevin was allegedly more than willing to do everything they asked him to do without question. Now, as I said, Kevin and Katt's beef has been going on for years, but it reached its boiling point last year when Katt went on Club Shay and basically slammed Kevin for being an industry plant. He said that Kevin's entire career was manufactured for him by the Harts after he sold his soul to them. And then Kevin fabricated his entire come-up story to make it look like he hustled for it when really it was handed to him by his masters.
One job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
What?
Is to act like it didn't happen. Tiffany was only seen at the Laugh Factory. In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club. He already had his deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is? He just did his documentary with Chris Rock where he shows you that his whole upbringing in comedy was on the East Coast.
Yeah, it was.
So how simultaneously was he here in Los Angeles doing the same thing? It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And I hate to seem like a petty individual for picking apart lies.
Now, the reason why Katt accused Kevin of selling his soul is because right after he was blackballed for not bending to the rules of the industry, they pushed him out and replaced him with Kevin Hart. But according to Katt, there is no way they would have chosen Kevin if he didn't bend to the rules that they had given him in the first place. Katt even brought up the fact that he was blackballed because he refused to do a scene of him getting saw in the movie Friday After Next. Apparently, the producers thought that scene would be funny, but Katt didn't see how someone getting a sate could possibly be funny. So he refused to do it after they finished with the film. Katt was blacklisted, and every movie he was supposed to be starring in was given to Kevin.
The truth of the matter is, the Money Mike in the original script got raped in the bathroom, and that's what Ricky Smiley was okay with. Katt Williams had to take the risk in front of the studios and the cast and our powers that be in his very first movie and say respectfully, humbly, guys, if we're talking about anything else, I have no credibility and I have no pull. But we're talking about comedy,
right,
where I have all the credibility and all the pull. The problem with Friday After Next is we're trying to make a classic comedy. And this comedy involves is never funny, no matter who it happens to or what the circumstances are. If you would allow me to allow us to do this movie without a black man getting in it, I promise you that it will be twice as funny as it would be with him getting raped. So considering that's the real story, why would you bring up that story? I lost every for a 5-year period, every single movie that Kevin Hart did was a movie that had been on my desk, that all I had said was, just, can we take some of this step and fetch out, and then I can do it? Like, it don't need to be overtly homosexual, because I'm not homosexual, right? It doesn't need that to be funny, right? And me saying that and them going, oh yeah, no problem, and then going to give it to this other guy and having him do it just like it was, and acting like I'm a bad person because I keep standing on my standard. But yeah, it's interesting, but I wouldn't change it for.
World, what made this entire thing even messier is that this wasn't the first time Katt accused Kevin of selling himself to the industry for fame. The first time he called Kevin out was when Kevin popped out on SNL wearing a wig after claiming he would never wear a wig. This was a big deal at the time because in the early 2000s, there was an epidemic of black men being forced to wear dresses and wigs as a rite of passage to make it big in Hollywood. Dave Chappelle fueled these rumors during an interview with Oprah Winfrey in 2006, where he spilled the tea about the time the producers of a movie he was doing with Martin Lawrence tried to get him to wear a dress against his will.
I mean, I'm a conspiracy theorist to a degree. Like, when I connect dots that maybe shouldn't be connected, I don't know. But certain dots, like when I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them down like, wow, all these brothers gotta wear a dress. This happened to me. I'm doing a movie with Martin.
Yeah.
The movie's going good. So I walk in the trailer. I'm like, man, this must be the wrong trailer because there's a dress in here. They come in. The writer comes in. I think he's the writer. He's like, Dave, listen, we got this hilarious scene where Martin's sneaking out of jail. So he disguises you as a prostitute. And he put this dress on. And, what? A prostitute? Nah, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable with that. That should have been in the discussion. What? You don't feel comfortable with it? I mean, it's a hilarious bit. All the greats have done it. So, well, if all the greats have done it, it's kind of hacky, right? You're a writer. So why don't we just not do it? Because I don't feel comfortable wearing a dress. Oh, come on, Dave, listen, we got it all set up. We were supposed to shoot. Every minute you waste costs this much money. You know, the pressure comes in. He said, I'm not wearing no dress, man. I'm funnier than a dress. Just give me something funny to say. I don't need to wear no dress to be funny. What am I, Milton Berle? You know, we're going like this. And then finally he's like, and he leaves. And then, like, the director comes, Dave, it really would be great if you wear the dress.
But this is where things get even more interesting, because Dave said that the producers had another script ready, just in case they didn't succeed in getting him to wear the dress and play cosplay as a woman I'm not wearing.
Not wearing the dress. I'm not wearing the dress. All right, fine. Think of something else. Guy comes back 10 minutes later, the whole new scene. Hot damn, how did you write the scene so fast? You know, it's like, so you gotta take.
Kevin was later asked in an interview what he thought about the things Dave said, and he made it clear that he would never put a wig or dress on because he has his own morals and beliefs. But guess what? Not long after this interview, Kevin shamelessly popped out on an SNL skit wearing a dress and a wig.
Dave Chappelle, another great comedian, said that, you know, in the industry, they tried to make him wear a dress. Have you ever ran into that with scripts and is that something that, you know, you wouldn't do, you know, for
I definitely haven't ran into to put on the dress. I mean, you know, you have to have boundaries. You have to have limits that you refuse to cross. You know, for me, I know what they are. They've yet to been challenged, so, you know, I don't have to speak on them. I was asked to dribble a basketball on the talk show this morning.
You look good doing it, though.
Not that was a dress, but I was like, no, I'm gonna look stupid. You know, at the end of the day, you gotta know that you're a brand. I'm a brand. You need to protect your brand at all times. When things happen that can possibly affect your brand, your brand can be diminished, and you don't want that to happen. So, you know, protecting my brand is definitely a priority.
And here come the Cardinals. And from the looks of it, the new pope is not Turkson. The new pope is 9-year-old Oscar nominee, Kavashane Wallace.
Wow. I don't think anyone saw this one coming.
He received a lot of backlash for this, because he ended up doing exactly what he was claiming he would never do. Some people at the time even said Kevin was allegedly being turned into a power bottom in Hollywood. And of course he wasn't here for this, so he jumped on Twitter to make it clear that he wasn't forced into wearing that wig. I wore a dress on SNL because I thought it was funny. I made that decision. Nobody made it for me. I am my own boss. Katt was later asked what his thoughts were on Kevin wearing a dress, and he said it wasn't Kevin's fault that he wore that dress, because he was just part of a long line of black men being made to wear a dress in order to transition to that next level of fame.
At the end of the day, Kevin doesn't have to worry about what people are going to say about him wearing a dress because of the long line of dress-wearing people before him. So now we have Big Mama's house 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
I've never seen Medea in a pantsuit. I think she wears dresses. So now I'm saying, why are we picking on poor little Kevin Hart? Because it was his turn.
Right after this humiliation ritual, Kevin started getting even bigger roles in the industry, and Katt was blackballed. He was slowly being used to replace Katt, and Katt's name was getting dragged through the mud by the media for allegedly being an addict.
You're a sucker. The reason I don't do Big Tigger is because I had a tumor in my upper jaw and they had to take it out, and they had to block the whole right of my sinus with a piece of metal. So ever since I got out the Marine Corps, I can only breathe out of one nostril, boy. I get my blood tested every 3 months for the last 15 years. All narcotic tests have come up 0.00%. I'm 44 years old, little Tigger. You look up my rap sheet. I have never had a DUI or a possession of anything, not even the marijuana I do every day. See, when you real, you can tell the truth about anything or anybody.
After this, Katt took a break from social media and returned in 2018 with even more things to say, and accused Tiffany Haddish of also being a power slave and an industry plant.
Guy Torrey did a beautiful special about the Comedy Store and Fat Tuesday, where he said that Steve and Cedric and Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish came through there and made... All lies. Steve and Cedric never performed at the Comedy Store at all. Tiffany was only seen at the Laugh Factory.
Now, even though Katt didn't mention Kevin in the interview, Kevin was triggered, and he decided to go in on Katt when he and Tiffany appeared as guests on The Breakfast Club. He called Katt a failure and said the reason why Katt isn't where he thinks he should be is because he chose to be a crackhead instead of focusing on his career.
Frustration with Katt Williams comes from, you keep pointing at Hollywood. Hollywood this, the white man, this, and this. When do you take responsibility for your actions? You had the shot.
Katt was in that position at one point.
You were the guy.
Yeah.
You were set up to be the star. You didn't show up to work. You off promo shoots. You your promo trips that they had set up for you. You became a risk to the studios, which is why the studios stopped.
Why was he a risk?
He chose drugs.
Oh, okay.
Take responsibility for what you chose and say, you know what, I gotta fix me, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna stand up for comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say Tiffany Haddish doesn't deserve or isn't really a comedian and these other women have worked hard, which they have.
Mm-hmm.
Shouts out to Melanie Camacho, shouts out to Lou Nell, shouts out to Leslie Jones, who are all underneath the umbrella of Katt Williams. Katt Williams, have you ever used your platform to bring the people that were under you up? You haven't. So because you haven't, don't knows that now are. I've used my platform and I brought my guys and girls up. The brand of Kevin Hart is a brand that's expanded so far, whether you like me or not. My presence in comedy will forever be felt. Because I'm a boss. I sit on the top of it, and the opportunities I'm getting are the ones that I'm creating. So take responsibility for what you did. You. Nobody else did. You don't hear Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, the Kings of Comedy, Seinfeld. You don't hear George Lopez, Eddie Griffin. You don't hear who else can I go down the road of other comedians? Steve Martin, Martin Short. You don't hear the guys that got on top and that made it by doing what they love, complain about the people that are coming under them. The reason why is because they're happy with themselves. Don't blame everybody else for your shit. Don't on my sister light because you're not happy with shit. This earned, it's not given. I don't give a you a Tiffany Haddish fan or not.
But Katt didn't let those crackhead allegations slide, and he hopped on IG Live to call Kevin out for making up lies about him.
Social media, boy, I know you what you do, but you do it for play. If you do it for real, here it is, Kevin. I got a show at your hometown in Philly. I'm gonna tape my special there. On that stage, we can put whatever you want. A full court basketball court, a boxing ring, 2 microphones for a rap cipher, or you can get your dusted in comedy on that stage. But it's $1 million up for each one. That's $5 million, Mr. 28 million in Forbes. I'll be bringing mine in cash, Mitch. Bring yours however you want. And since you're not a puppet, don't bring no white people with you then. That's a $5 million bet individually. You can take it all, or you can take it part and parcel. This is the new movement.
Now you think that after all this back and forth, Kevin would just accept that he was wrong. But he actually doesn't. He recently appeared in an interview with Charlem, and he disrespected Katt again. He brought up that interview on The Breakfast Club, where he called Katt an addict. But instead of apologizing for lying on that man, he said he regrets ever even responding to Katt because he isn't worth the response in the first place. He said Katt is irrelevant, and that he didn't gain anything beneficial from even going back and forth with him. He was better off staying quiet and allowing Katt to run with whatever narrative he wanted to run with.
Real problems with people, and your problems are like serious, it's not hard to ever get to a person and really like address the problem correctly. The problems that people have with me, they aren't my problems. So the idea of being petty or going back and forth, it's so beneath me because I don't have the problem. And I feel like if I engage, it makes it look like I got a problem. We were promoting night school, and Tiffany was affected by some of the things he said. And it was more of a like support for her in that moment, and like some shots at him.
Do you regret that?
Yeah, I shouldn't even talk. I should never address him like, at all. I don't have to. But like, why? What will it do for me? What will I gain? There's no gain. So I look at everything from a business and economic standpoint. Like, if I'm investing in something, well, what is my return? What's the return on my investment? What's the return on my time? What's the return on my energy? What's the return on my investment? So that investment of self, words, dialogue brings me what? What? And if I can't answer that question, or if people around me can't answer that question, then it doesn't get an inklet of energy. So it has nothing to do with people feeling like they're above, people feeling like they're better. No, it has to do with a strong understanding of you and like yourself, level of awareness. Like I can check all these boxes.
Child No Kevin has not responded to this yet, but it's not going to be long before he claps back at Kevin for this shade. One person said, Kev knows he sold himself for the fame. Katt wasn't willing to do that. Accountability isn't his strong suit. Accused someone of using drugs publicly, then now you above it, lol. Another person said Katt was a threat to the industry because he spoke the truth, not because he was on drugs. Well, now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about Kevin still standing on the allegations he made about Katt being an addict? And do y'all think he is really an industry plant? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And don't forget to click here to watch this other very messy video.